I'm 43, and my wife, aged 40, and I've been married for 16 years. We have a 14-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. Our marriage had a challenging start, but we got through those tough years and emerged stronger. We married young, lacking some maturity, but our love helped us conquer any challenges. I'm not entirely sure if this was wishful thinking. My wife has been a manager at a large advertising company for 3 years, and I've been an engineer for 7 years. Both our jobs pay well, providing a comfortable lifestyle for our family. We are a close-knit family, always making time for our kids to create cherished memories. Despite being a good dad and husband, I was shocked to discover my wife's long-term affair, despite some mistakes I made. Now, on to the discovery. My wife became distant, especially in the last 2 challenging years. She constantly compared me to her boss, who seemed to handle things better. I couldn't read her mind, unlike her boss. I didn't take the initiative to plan dates and make her feel special, something her boss did for his wife. I asked her what she wanted to spice up our love life, but her response was vague. I needed to already know and do it. Feeling clueless, I researched and bought books, but my attempts were met with disappointment. Unbeknownst to me, it wasn't me who was fixing things all along. We were close to her boss and his family, spending time together at barbecues, family outings, and other activities. I confided in her boss about our marital problems, thinking he was a good person. Back to the discovery, I grew emotionally tired from my wife's demands to improve our marriage. One night, she laughed and giggled while texting someone, and when I tried to peek, she angrily pulled away. Suspecting an affair, I made the mistake of asking her directly the next day, but she vehemently denied any wrongdoing. Unable to access her phone initially, I later obtained it and discovered deleted texts. Although some conversations seemed inconsistent, I gathered bits and pieces of proof, confirming the affair with her boss. Instead of confronting her immediately, I waited, feeling devastated and concerned about the kids. Despite the pain, I didn't want to give up on the marriage. So, 3 days later, I purchased How to Help Your Spouse Heal from an Affair with the hope of saving our relationship. Planning to talk on a Saturday, she claimed an emergency at work, which seemed suspicious. Unable to confirm, she returned home late on Sunday, avoiding questions about her delay. I suffered, but she seemed indifferent. Desperate for stability, I contacted her boss's wife, who was as shocked as me. We decided to gather evidence on each side and compare. I snooped on my wife, and she did the same with her husband, easily finding undeniable proof. Her husband's arrogance left the texts on his phone intact, making sense of the little texts I found earlier. We discovered the affair had been ongoing for 2 years, and both of us were furious. Although revenge was tempting, we decided against it. They had slept together in various places, even exchanging pictures. Ignoring the images to avoid scarring ourselves, we sought revenge without engaging in our own affairs. We both drew up divorce papers around the same time, determined to move on from the betrayal. Our spouses were unaware that we knew, so we played our roles. When everything was set, they resumed their affair. This time, we collaborated with the boss's wife, knowing exactly where and how to confront them, even the hotel they booked for their weekend getaway. I personally went there with the sheriff, waiting in the lobby while my wife was called down from a room, dressed in a bathrobe. Despite the distance from our home, it wasn't too far. The sheriff asked for her confirmation, and she was served after confusedly affirming her name. It was satisfying to see the shock on her face, but I walked away without rubbing it in. She grabbed my arm, demanding to know the meaning. I told her about the affair and I'm leaving. Simple. She screamed, pulled my arm, and the sheriff had to intervene, telling her to release me. She started crying, but I left quickly to get home. My wife informed her boss, and he panicked, being served at home. We didn't give them time to recover. We blindsided them, just like they did to us. My divorce will be finalized in a couple of months, while hers might take a bit longer. Both my wife and her boss are fighting the divorces, neither wanting to end their marriages. The excuses I hear are that they never intended to leave their spouses. It was a purely clean affair, nothing more. People have worse affairs and still come out with a great marriage. They messed up and would like a chance to fix the situation. I asked my wife about the outcome, and she said she was going with the flow, acting completely out of character. I called her an idiot. People around me criticize me for not giving my wife another chance. My kids know what's going on, age appropriate, and they support me, but wish we could stay together. My resolve is slipping, especially since we still live in the same house, and my wife is going to therapy and reading the book I brought. She says she's remorseful and will do whatever it takes. All I tell her is that she's sorry she got caught, and that's all I need to know. She called me a bitter, resentful person who can't look past all the negativity. She apologized later, but I know that's how she feels. The boss's wife and I still talk, which my wife hates. She thinks I might have a revenge affair, or her boss's wife is the reason I won't give us another chance. She has asked me repeatedly to initiate no contact with her boss's wife, just like she did with her boss. I told her she's crazy, we didn't do anything wrong, and why should I respect her opinions now? See, I think I'm done. I have no respect for her. She still doesn't want to give up, and is actively trying to engage with me about her thoughts and processes to her affair. I see them as excuses, so I don't entertain her. She wants me to do therapy with her. I've read many places where the therapist blames the sufferer, so I said hell no. She wants me to read infidelity books with her. What's the point if we're going to divorce anyway? She wants to be with me. I told her she's not going to manipulate me with closeness. She says it's not manipulation, just showing how much she loves me. I corrected and said love me now. People around me, even my mom, are frustrated, saying people make mistakes, and my wife realizes through her mistakes that she truly does love me. I tell them I won't be anyone's fallback plan. I feel bad for treating her the way I do, but I still love her even though there's hate. Am I being unnecessarily cruel to her? She's trying hard, but I just don't care. Should I reconsider the divorce? People are saying I'm moving too quickly and might regret it. Is that true? I don't know what's real. Update. Thanks for your concern, guys. My wife and I are in a sort of good place, but we're not reconciling. I'm still divorcing her because her affair was too long for me to get over. If it had been a one-night stand, that would be a different story. But no, 2 years is just a slap in the face. I've gone to a few therapy sessions with her because I'm not a monster and still love her. One session was very good and made me understand her remorse. She hasn't handled the fallout perfectly, but she's been trying pretty damn hard. The second session was a mess of her being upset with me for continuously contacting the boss's wife and her being afraid of a revenge affair. It was the angriest I ever was through this whole mess, and we argued a great deal later because I refused to do what she wanted, which is no contact with the boss's wife. That was resolved when I promised her that there will be no revenge affair. I know I don't owe her anything, but she's still my wife until our divorce, and I still want to hold true to my commitments. I've attended more sessions with her to check on her progress. Yes, this therapist handles both individual and marriage counseling. No, I'm not attending these sessions because I secretly want to save our marriage. I just want to witness my wife's progress and be involved if needed. After the divorce, I'll step away gracefully. The boss's wife is still leaving her husband, and he's still resisting the divorce. She's as determined as I am, and I'll admit we confide in each other during low days. I still don't see any affair. We're just on friendly terms. She's a strong, independent woman who doesn't tolerate nonsense. My kids are doing well. They understand that divorcing doesn't mean we love them any less. They don't want a divorce, but they understand why it's necessary for us in an age-appropriate way. My wife no longer works at the advertising company. She resigned after I served her. She's strictly no contact with her former boss. According to her, she sought help on forums to save the marriage. I've been reading a lot here, and initially, I didn't get why people stayed with adulterers, but after seeing my wife work hard to be a better person, I can see the temptation. She's not a monster, she's just flawed and made horrible choices, learning to be better. She's offered everything for another chance, but I'm not sure. As the divorce nears, I feel more at peace. We recently discussed her asking for a chance after the divorce. She's offered a postnup. I wasn't completely opposed, but it would be a very, very long road for her. To be honest, a huge part of me wants this divorce for a fleeting sense of justice, the only justice I can get without becoming an adulterer. My mom and I reconciled after I revealed more about my wife's affair, but now she's furious after learning the details. Navigating her anger is challenging. Regarding a revenge affair, I didn't want to write here until my divorce was finalized, but I'm just angry today and need to vent. As many of you know, my wife is scared crazy about a revenge affair. The simple reason is because I'm still in contact and see the other woman she betrayed. My wife is very insecure compared to the other betrayed spouse. Is that how it's spelled? The other betrayed spouse is younger, a model, very attractive, and owns a successful business. It makes my wife paranoid that I will give in to temptation and cheat on her as revenge. I still can't believe the nerve of her to give me the two wrongs don't make a right speech. Of course, she isn't wrong, and I don't intend to ever follow through, but her hypocrisy infuriates me. Every time I visit the other betrayed spouse, my wife gets extremely sad or clingy. I don't know how many times she has thrown herself at me just to make sure I don't cheat on her back. I reject her attempts, and it only makes things worse. It absolutely floors me that cheaters are this selfish, only thinking about themselves and their pain, while the betrayed have to trudge along and try to pick up the pieces. Another thing, our kids still see their kids. I never go to the other betrayed spouse without my kids. But no, my wife still thinks I have it in me to be as heartless as she was and take any opportunity to be with another woman. Laughable. Ohm is still living in their holiday home, begging the other betrayed spouse to take him back. I won't lie, it brings me a sense of great satisfaction to see him suffer the consequences. He hasn't tried to threaten me because of how much leverage I have on him. He is allowed to visit his kids anytime he wants but doesn't want to see me, so he makes sure I'm not around and then visits. I pity the guy, honestly. Currently, my wife has been extremely apologetic. She's been showing me a lot of affection, but I've been ignoring it because I'm not in a good place. We have a therapy session today, and I plan to express all the pain and hurt I've endured because of her. The rage I feel is becoming overwhelming. Update. During a recent therapy session with my wife, she asked for more time to win me back. She had several reasons why I should at least try to participate in recovering our marriage, not necessarily reconciling. I kept pointing out that she's only trying now because of the fallout from her affair. If she was still with the other person, she wouldn't be making an effort. She emotionally mistreated me for months, and I won't let myself be walked all over, even by the woman I loved. She acknowledged her wrongdoings and apologized again, making many promises to make it up to me. She wants our marriage to become stronger than ever and believes it's possible. I asked if she was willing to deal with my rage because I have a lot of it. She said absolutely, encouraging me to unload on her whenever I needed to process the pain. Usually, when I ask her why she had an affair, I get a million excuses. This time, she was straightforward, admitting there was no excuse for what she did. She vowed to show through her actions every day for the rest of her life that she's truly remorseful and would never hurt me that way again. She opened up about her feelings, revealing she was very insecure and jealous of the other betrayed spouse. The affair boosted her ego, making her feel beautiful and desired. She admitted it was a fantasy that would never last, regretting it deeply. She acknowledged the guilt she'd carry for the rest of her life and said she'd probably never forgive herself. She confessed she could never compare to the other betrayed spouse, and her certainty that I would cheat back stemmed from the other person's beauty and integrity. The other betrayed spouse never said a mean thing or threatened her. It was all my wife's insecurities talking. The therapist asked what it would take for me to consider my wife's proposal. I couldn't think of anything and honestly said I needed a time machine because what I have now is a sham of a marriage. I never signed up for this. The therapist suggested that all marriages face problems and how they're dealt with shows the strength of a marriage. I was taken aback and told the therapist to focus on my wife, not us. The therapist suggested my unwillingness to listen to logical reasoning might be a communication problem. I didn't disagree. On the drive home, my wife and I had a long talk. She asked if I felt emasculated due to her affair, surprising me with the question. I answered yes. She then shocked me by asking if I would feel better if I slept with another woman. I reiterated that I'm not normal and wouldn't have a revenge affair. She clarified she meant a trial separation where I could go out and regain my confidence. She'd remain faithful and wait for me to come back when I'm ready. I thought her proposal was crazy, asking how it would benefit the marriage for both of us to have affairs. She argued that mine wouldn't be an affair because we'd be separated with conditions allowing me to see other people. I rejected the idea, finding it out of character for her to propose that. Despite not trusting her, she has been surprisingly calm and patient these few weeks, almost like a different person from the insecure one. Even though she doesn't want it, She has been generous in the divorce, making the situation difficult to navigate. Update. Before I dive into it, I want to thank those who've been supporting me. Right now, my wife and I decided to be civil and spend the holidays together for our kids. This will be our last holiday, though my wife hopes otherwise. I'm doing it for our kids because I love them. Our divorce will be final in mid-February. For those curious, we've split everything 50-50. Though my wife has been generous, I'm unsure if it's a tactic for later nastiness. So far, she's been nice, confessing it's because I've been a great husband and father, so I should get a fair divorce. She won't lose much in the divorce, but I'll get slightly more, thanks to her. I stopped therapy with her. It gave false hope. She admits a desire for closeness due to my absence, understanding I felt emasculated due to her affair. She's been frequently trying to engage me in closeness, which is new since my wife hardly initiated closeness before. Over time, I appreciated her addressing my hang-up, but I reject her attempts. She insists it's not about reconciliation. She just wants me to feel good and desired. I've cut off contact with the other betrayed spouse temporarily due to things getting too personal. The other betrayed spouse confessed interest, willing to wait until my divorce is finalized before anything. I'm confused and unsure about returning her feelings, so we decided to take a break until everything is sorted out. Despite someone suggesting my presence affects her reconciliation, I have nothing to do with her decision to leave Ohm. She's done with him, and we don't talk badly about our spouses when together. Ohm recently apologized in person, but I didn't accept it. Call me petty, but I don't care about what he's going through. I have a question. Is it okay to have closeness with my wife, even if we're not reconciling? I miss the closeness, and my wife is eager, trying everything possible to initiate it. Sometimes I find it hard to resist. She even got rid of anything related to Ohm without me asking, as I didn't care to know where they had closeness. It's not easy for me to switch off these feelings. Is this a trap? Am I being played? Before someone suggests kicking her out, I've tried that, but I want her here for less hassle until the divorce is done. Rant. It's finally dawned on me. I thought I wasted years on a seemingly worthless woman, but she gave me great kids and memories. I won't forget that, but I now understand I can do better than her. I've received advice and finally understand I deserve better. She treated me poorly when another man showed her attention, investing her energy in him. Only now, when I'm over her, does she try everything to keep me and invest in us. Now she wants me to be happy, even being adventurous in bed. While our previous closeness wasn't perfect, I liked it. I realize I've missed out on a lot through her texts with Ohm, knowing just the tip of the iceberg and how graphic their encounters were. Now she values my boundaries, sees me as the king she should have before, but it feels fleeting. She's transparent and brutally honest, expressing regret for the affair. I see her constant look of shame and hopelessness when I'm unreceptive, making me hate myself sometimes, but it's necessary. Why can't I see this as a positive thing? Why can't I judge her for her remorseful actions? Many people have long-term affairs and come out stronger, right? Why am I basing decisions on emotion and not mature objectivity? Someone else might get the improved version of her while I navigate another uncertain relationship. Why not fight for this when everything seems to point to something good in the future? I've been given these lines and have one answer. I won't accept disrespect. Maybe I was willing to in the early stages, but I woke up from that quickly. This is for the people who pumped me and regularly asked about my situation. I'm going to enjoy this Christmas with my entire family and then move on from my wife. I decided to stop listening to the nonsense I created in my head to keep my wife's control over me and move on entirely from the idea of her. I won't be dating her or giving us another chance. We are over for good. I like to say my wife isn't a villain, and that's true. I want her to be happy, but it will never be with me. She has shown me that. I called the other betrayed spouse today and offered her dinner after the holidays for her support when I hit rock bottom. She said she would love to. I know this doesn't happen often, but we really supported each other throughout all of this, and I owe her thanks. Before people start talking about how much I planned this with the other betrayed spouse, I honestly did not. My emotions have been so screwed up these few years that the very thought of another woman never crossed my mind, and it's dinner, nothing else, unless we both want it. But the closer divorce gets, the more I realize I actually have options. And one option has been right there. What about Ohm? I don't give a flying FK about the dude. I do not think I will marry again, and I will tell this to any woman. Although my divorce hasn't been much of a hassle, I am losing a lot of money. Still, the whole idea of marriage just seems like a sham to me now. Sorry for being so cynical right now. I don't want this post to offend anyone, but I'm still jaded. I gave my best years to this woman, and I'm starting to realize how little I got back. Update. Officially divorced. It's been a long time coming. It's over. My ex and I have officially separated for good. It happened almost 3 weeks ago, and for a few days after, I grieved like I lost a loved one. It hit me extremely hard that my marriage failed so spectacularly. I never cried that hard, ever since I discovered the affair in the first place. I raged a lot too, definitely one of my lowest points. Everything has been organized for my ex, partially for the kids' sake. She moved out of the house and I'm looking to buy her out of her part of it. She lives in an apartment now, a big downgrade for her which depresses her. She is still going to therapy, still invested in reading and studying infidelity. I don't know exactly why. We've had long talks leading to and after the divorce, minimal physical contact. I know I shouldn't entertain her now, but she's still the mother of my kids, and I want us to be good co-parents. I'm nothing if not logical about the situation, largely thanks to this community and others. Of course, it's the same tune. She wants to reconcile, and I think it's too risky for me to put myself in that situation again. Unfortunately, I'm not in the mood to give her that gift. This past weekend, I accompanied the other betrayed spouse to dinner with no intention other than enjoying each other's company and chatting. We talked about all sorts of things. Things got flirty between us, and I must admit, I was very reluctant to entertain the rapidly changing mood. Well, I guess I should say the night ended in a very passionate way. Sorry for TMI. It was probably the most perfect closeness I've ever had. OBS is very much a giver and spades above my ex. I did not intend for it to go that far, but the other betrayed spouse and I were willing, and I was as well. I learned quite a few more tricks in the sack. It's the first time I ever had someone that enthusiastic to please me, and not the other way around. Guess I shouldn't call her the other betrayed spouse anymore, as she divorced her ex. But for privacy's sake, I'll just use that. I do not think we will take our relationship further. To be honest, I think the hormones and wine got the best of us that night. She would like to, but I am undecided. I need to sort myself out emotionally, and I think she does as well. I feel very good, though. People might not like hearing this, but the closeness I had with the other betrayed spouse really helped a lot with my residual self-esteem issues. I felt desired, alive, and finally understood what I was missing out on. I will never settle for robotic closeness again. What was more satisfying was knowing that I was not cheating and did not lower my morals. All things considered, I'm very proud of how I handled all this crap. I wasn't perfect, but did the best I could. I'm probably coming out very lucky compared to many BHS, even if I did lose a substantial amount of money in this process. But it was because I was willing to absorb advice and listen to people with experience instead of going in blind and hoping for the best. Takeaways. Respect yourself. Never tolerate disrespect, even from those closest to you. Everyone deserves a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Don't settle for less from your partner. A committed relationship should have a satisfying closeness life. If your partner isn't putting in effort, especially if they did so before or during an affair, don't accept it. Express your dissatisfaction. If your partner doesn't meet your needs, don't settle for unexciting closeness unless you both agree. It's okay to walk away. Communicate, communicate, communicate. It's incredibly important. If you're betrayed, only you can truly heal yourself. It took me a long time to grasp this. There are more points, but that's all I can think of now. I'll answer comments for a few hours, but after that, I'm done posting here and moving on with my life. Have a good one, everyone. Update. I intentionally avoided anything related to infidelity because I still get triggered now and then. I'm dealing with the trauma and trying to move on without dwelling too much on it. I'm okay. No accidents or disappearing acts. I'm still an IC other betrayed spouse with my girlfriend. She resolved her case with Ohm regarding child custody and finances maturely instead of seeking revenge. There's some tension among the children, and we've started therapy to help them adjust and understand that our relationship doesn't diminish their importance. It's challenging because not everyone is on board. My daughter X and Ohm don't like being around each other, and there's tension. My ex wants a second chance, probably upset that the other betrayed spouse is influencing my perspective. I'm genuinely concerned about her behavior. She tried something at a 4th of July party, and though I stopped it, she's persisting. People warned me she might pine for me, and they were right. The other betrayed spouse is letting me handle it, but is also growing weary of my ex. Did I mention my ex strongly dislikes the other betrayed spouse? I thought my ex was changing for the better, but since I left her, she's been a train wreck. It's puzzling. I treated her well and she treated me poorly. But the moment I said, "Forget you," she's desperate for my attention. I don't know if I should be angry about it. Well, there you have it. Y'all can rest easy now. I'm concerned about my daughter. Hello, everyone. I've been searching for helpful resources to navigate my current situation. Check my history for more details, but I'll provide a summary. My ex-wife had a 2-year affair, during which she was emotionally abusive and frequently compared me to her affair partner, Om. Our closeness suffered, and initially, I blamed myself. When I discovered the affair, I eventually decided to divorce her, especially after a weekend when she lied about spending time with Om. I connected with the other betrayed spouse, and together we initiated divorces while ensuring our children were informed in an age-appropriate manner. We've been open with the kids, explaining the separation without details. Despite their understandable reluctance, they handled it as well as could be expected. My ex-wife pushed for reconciliation, but I chose to end the relationship, forgiving her but moving forward. The divorce was financially costly, but not excessively damaging. Soon after the divorce, the other betrayed spouse and I developed a serious relationship, having initially been friends with benefits. Supporting each other post-affair fallout was crucial, and without it, I might have remained with my cheating ex or worse. I regularly talk to my kids, ensuring open communication. My son, aged 10, likes the other betrayed spouse, while my 15-year-old daughter is taking more time to adjust. She wants me to be happy, but is cautious about interfering in my relationship. We've discussed healthy relationships and her concerns, and she seems supportive, although she needs time. Our relationship is discreet to avoid overwhelming all the kids, including her 2 daughters. Everyone, including Om, is in therapy. Now, concerning my daughter, the fallout from the affair strained her relationship with her mother. She openly expresses hatred because she believes none of this would have happened if not for her mother's actions. She acts rebelliously toward her mother, rejecting affection and even cursing at her. I've stepped in to enforce respect, but it worries me. The ex-wife is trying to mend their relationship, seeking my assistance despite it being my decision to divorce. I could throw her infidelity in her face, but I choose not to. However, it raises doubts about how I handled the situation. Things I'm worried about. Daughter lacks respect for her mother. Daughter wishes for things to go back to before. She's unaware of her mother's misuse toward me. Daughter is in therapy, but I'm unsure of its effectiveness. Concerns that she feels voiceless and overwhelmed. Handling my relationship well, but possibly hiding emotions. Fear of having negatively impacted my kids' lives by divorcing their mother. Any advice is highly appreciated. Update. I want to share a realistic update, not a fairy tale. Let's address the big question. How are the other betrayed spouse and I doing? Honestly, we're doing fantastic. If I had known a woman like her existed earlier, I would have found her years ago. Jokes aside, our relationship is the strongest I've ever had. Because my ex-wife put me through so much, I didn't really know what a healthy relationship looked like. I still doubted myself, but the other betrayed spouse has been an amazing partner, helping me through this. I'm genuinely in love with her. She consistently shows me how much I mean to her, and I feel the same way. However, we're keeping it at the girlfriend level, and I'm still unsure about the whole idea of marriage. We're keeping our relationship private and involving the children as little as possible, although they know we're dating. Now, about the kids, it was a bit rough at first. Who am I kidding? But they're getting along really well now. Our heavy involvement in their lives and ensuring they had someone to talk to when they had problems helped. Also, there's been a lot of therapy. My daughter and son adore the other betrayed spouse. She has a great connection with kids, and her children like me much more than they did almost 2 years ago. Her youngest even started telling people that I'm her stepdad at functions and outings I took her to, which was a surprise. I was concerned she might feel pressured to see me that way, but she assured me she liked me a lot, and I make her mom happy, so she's happy. I'm her stepdad. Hearing that hit me emotionally, though I put up a strong front. I enjoy seeing my kids happily playing with the others, even though they've formed a united front to playfully tease my son, the only boy and the youngest of the bunch. I'm not sure if I should laugh or cringe at that one. So, how about my cheating ex-wife? We are on good terms. She's been working hard to repair her relationship with our daughter, and I was pleased when my daughter said she could find it in her heart to forgive her mother for what she did. They've been through a lot and have made progress together. Despite that, I don't think my ex-wife has fully accepted that we're done as a couple. She seems to be looking for or hinting at a second try. She's been hitting the gym and attending individual therapy. Overall, she seems much healthier now, but I don't really care. I've made peace with the past, and it's her problem for not doing the same. She talks more with the other betrayed spouse, and that's reciprocated. However, the other betrayed spouse regards her with skepticism, which is understandable given everything that's happened. Ohm is a lost cause. I didn't realize what a mess the guy would be despite all his money. He has a girlfriend now, but his kids despise her and are very open about it. It took me some time to see how full of himself the dude was. To be honest, I don't like his girlfriend either. She comes off as extremely materialistic, selfish, and callous toward the girls. In conclusion, we're doing better than okay. Don't get me wrong, I had doubts about whether this was the right path, but with a lot of effort from everyone involved, it's turning out splendidly. No happily ever after, just genuinely happy now.